about drug tests in order to get an unemployment check.
Oh, I think that's great.
That's a brilliant idea.
Welfare
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. But again, I think that, you know, I worked, one of my first jobs back when I got out of high school, I chased a girl to Cincinnati, and I started working construction. I did masonry work, laying block, finishing concrete. We'd go in and build subdivisions. Every winter we'd get laid off. And we'd get laid off and we'd collect unemployment. And back then it was usually, I don't know, 10 weeks or so, something like that. But it was a short time, and you always hoped and prayed that the winters were short. Because after the unemployment was gone, there was nobody there saying, okay, we're gonna refund, we're gonna restock and give you more money. When it was done, it was done. So we need to go back to that. That way it will incentivize folks that are not working to get a job.
Yep.
And again, if you're an able-bodied person, you should be working. These days, you can throw a rock and hit 3 jobs. If you're not working today, it's because you don't want to work. I've had some people tell me, well, Joe, I can't find a job that pays as much as the job I used to have. Well, get 2 jobs. Because I'm not going to work harder so you can sit at home because you can't find the job that you like. Again, it's called tough love. Any other questions?
Where do you stand on the raising the minimum wage?
Well, I tell you what, I'm paying dishwashers, 15 and 16-year-old dishwashers today, $10 and $12 an hour. Cooks, line cooks, in my restaurant, I'm paying $20 an hour. I mean, what are we going to raise the wage to? I mean, you can go down the street here, and I'll bet you can find a $12 or $15 an hour job. I saw McDonald's advertising $15.
Yeah, I don't believe the minimum wage should be raised.
Yeah, no, I think it should stay right where it's at. I shouldn't have to pay a 15, 16-year-old $10, $12 an hour to wash dishes. They should start out at $8 an hour. But unfortunately, we don't have enough people out there working. So, yes, ma'am?
There was a topic that was mentioned quite a while back, and that was what was nicknamed the backpack bill for the children's school funds to follow them. And I've done some reading on that. I homeschool my children, and I follow the Ohio Homeschooling Association and all of those different groups. And from what I can tell from my reading, it's one of those types of bills that looks fantastic at face value. I mean, why wouldn't you want the funds to follow your child? It sounds great. But unfortunately, what I'm seeing is it raises some big red flags, because what it does is it opens doors for them to then start regulating and sticking their big politician nose into the homeschooling rights. And a lot of places that have done similar, other states that have done similar things are losing their homeschooling rights.
Yeah.
And they're then having people say, well, you're getting the government money. Government money means we have a right to say something.
So I like the backpack bill, but again, if you're a homeschooler, are you familiar with a gal that sits on the state teacher school board? Her name's Diane Fessler. She's a big homeschool advocate. So I have talked to her, and again, she said, Joe, I just want to make sure that if we push the backpack bill, that we make sure there is protections for homeschoolers. And I'm all about homeschoolers. Matter of fact, we get a lot of homeschoolers out on our farm, and a lot of times they're way beyond kids that of their age in the local public school system. So yes, we have to protect homeschoolers. The monies, and some homeschoolers ask me, can the money go to homeschooling? And I said, absolutely. I said, you can use it for curriculum or tutoring. And here's what homeschoolers don't want though. They don't want that string attached.
Right.
There would be a string attached to this, because obviously we have to make sure that the money's being used for educating. Otherwise, you would have parents that could care less. They'll jerk their kids out of school just so they can get that money, and then they won't educate their children. So there would have to be a string attached to that. But as a homeschooler, you don't have to take that money. You don't have to get into that program. You can just stay out and do your thing. So that's what I'm for. Any other questions?
So you're saying there'd be basically a freedom or a clause in there where you could
Opt out.
opt out of
Yes.
the money and,
Yes.
and their,
Yes, you wouldn't have to be part of that program. You could just do your thing. Yeah.
That was gonna be my question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. No, we want to protect our homeschoolers. We don't want government in your business. If you don't want government in there, you should have that authority to keep them out. So.
I did wonder if you could address the cat tax.
Cat tax?
Cat tax a little more in detail so we could understand it.
Well, so basically, when you're in business, we have it's called a cat tax. It's based on gross revenue that we pay, which makes no sense. It comes around in casing times, and basically the tax, you would think it would be figured on net gross receipts, not gross, but that's how it's equated. We just need to get rid of that tax, period. And according to the Buckeye Institute, and they have fellows that this is all they research is tax and tax structure down there in Columbus. They set forth a lot of this research to representatives down there in Columbus, but a lot of them, they don't want to make these big changes. Well, we need to make some big changes, and that's what I would push forward, to just get rid of the cat tax altogether. So.
I have a question. So you have my vote, first of all.
Well, thank you.
But my fear is probably a fear that's shared with most people in this room. You probably get this question all the time. I think we all in this room recognize the power and the corruption of the GOP machine in Ohio. I think if every Ohioan could hear your message and in opposition to DeWine and Renacci, they would vote for you. You'd be the Trump of Ohio, right? But how are you going to be able to overcome that corrupt GOP machine that is fueled with dark money and connections and voter fraud? And I mean, it's like you mentioned with Trump in Ohio. He had to win so big to cover the fraud.
Right.
How can we overcome that?
So we have to inspire people. We have to get out in front of as many people as possible. We have to inspire them, not just to vote. We have to inspire them to work. I want everybody, if you get behind me and support me, I want you to take a handful of palm cards, business cards, and you need to be handing those out in your circles. You need to be talking to these people. You need to, what I always say, you need to plant the seed. So these people research me, they go to my website, they come out to a town hall like this, they ask questions. That's how we'll win this. The people working and inspiring others to vote and get involved is more powerful than all the money they have. And last go-around, the last primary, DeWine won the primary, 499,000 votes. Now, folks, there's over 4 million registered Republicans in this state. So that just tells you how many people are disengaged when it comes to the primary election. We should easily blow that out of the water. Matter of fact, just in folks like me, workers, union workers, You know, in this state, there's over 600,000 union workers. These people, a lot of these people are voting for me. I talked to folks in the steelworkers union, the pipe fitters union. I mean, there's a big movement amongst these workers because they want somebody like them that they can relate to. Somebody that's going to work just like them, somebody that's going to go out there and get dirty, and somebody that just has their best interest up front. Just a little story. I don't know. There was a woman running for Senate up there in Cuyahoga County. Her name was Laverne Gore, and I met her at a Strongsville event, and she'd heard of me, but she had never met me, and she wanted to meet me, shake my hand, and introduce herself. We had a great conversation. She said, Joe, I just want to tell you a story. She said, I was doing some business down in Columbus, and I was staying at a hotel up in Polaris. She said, some of the help there that was cleaning the rooms, they were of, I don't know if they were Asian or Hispanic, but I struck up a conversation with them. And I told them that, I was running for so-and-so seat, and I was up in Cuyahoga County. And these workers, they looked at her and they said, well, we're voting for the farmer. And she was like, the farmer? She didn't know who I was. She said, the farmer? And they said, yes, the one with that big beard. So, again, the Lord works in mysterious ways. When I started my slaughterhouse, I'm kind of entrenched. People know me in the Somalian community, the Hispanic community, the Ethiopian community, because they all came and bought lambs and goats on my farm. And not all these people vote, but there's quite a few of them that will vote, and I believe we'll have their votes. So that just tells you, we're going to open up doors that these politicians will not be able to open. We're going to inspire people where these politicians cannot inspire. And we've even had some Democrats come out to some Democrats and some folks that have never voted before. Never, ever. They said, Joe, last year we had a Biden sign in our yard, and this year we have your sign in our yard. Or, Joe, we've never donated to a political campaign. Matter of fact, we've never voted or put a sign in our yard. And this year, we got your sign in our yard, and we're going to donate to your campaign. I just go out and talk. God does the rest. By gosh, if He wants me in that seat, I'll be in that seat. If He doesn't want me in that seat, maybe He just wants me to inspire people to get involved. Maybe He just wants me to be a big noisy cuss in politics. I can do that too. So we're just going to give it 150%. We're going to doze forward and make a lot of trouble, and we expect to win this.
Is there a debate?
Well, that's a good question. DeWine will not want to debate.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
No, neither will Renacy. So we have a plan. We're going to start a buzz on social media, and we're going to call them out wanting a debate.
Yeah.
They're scared to death of me because I'm not afraid to say anything. Matter of fact, Jim Renacy doesn't. There's been a few events that was put on by local GOP groups where he was supposed to be there, and if he knows I'm there, he doesn't show up. So that's what we're dealing with. This is the these corrupt politicians, and they don't want to be called out. They just don't have the toughness. They don't have the backbone. That's why I scare them to death. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've talked about the election integrities and corrupt politicians and everything else, and we've all seen and been lied to so much that we're just a little gun shy about even getting out there and voting for anybody anymore because it'll just be stolen. That's so we got to do something to keep the elections legitimate. Is there anything you can do or any plans to help make the local board elections a little bit more legitimate?
You know, I'm doing everything I can do as far as using my voice, yeah, and I talk to Dr. Frank quite often. You know, I'm praying that the Supreme Court will take up this suit and actually look at the evidence that they put forward. So, again, we do need to hold our Secretary of State, accountable. You know, I believe there should be an audit, a full-blown audit in this state. Why, you know, again, why would you not want to do that so the people feel like their votes are being counted? You know, just like last year, and I'm sure anybody in here receive a mail-in ballot that didn't ask for, or multiple?
Yeah.
You know, this is part of the fraud in this state. There should be 0 mail-in ballots sent out. 0. Absentee ballot, an absentee ballot has some security to it. They can control that. Mail-in ballots, it has zero safeguards. But yet, they sent them out in droves. Many people got multiple ones. And, you know, the Secretary of State doesn't want to talk about that. Well, we should be talking about that.
Right.
That shouldn't be happening.
But that's up to us here too,
You know, it's
to
not
get
just
people out
the-
there. We need to talk to people and, yeah, they think their votes don't matter. We have to make them see that they need to change that way of thinking.
Right.
And the more people that we can talk to, that them people can go and talk to, that's the only way this is gonna work.
Well, one thing about it, there's more people that is engaged today than any time I've ever seen. You know, we're wide awake right now. And some people, they're coming on slowly. Some people still have their head in the sand, and they're going to keep their head in the sand. But many people, they're watching. And they want to be part of turning this around, because one thing about it, people don't like to be told what to do. We're Americans. We don't want the government in our business. We don't want the government saying, get a shot or you're losing your job. We don't want the government saying, well, you have to close your business down, but the business down the street, they can keep their business open. You know, every single thing they're doing right now, they're just pushing more voters to me. Because that won't happen when I'm in there. None of that nonsense will happen. None of it. Did you have something else to say?
Yeah, we saw what looked like a lot of election fraud happening in the past. And I don't believe it was directed by anyone at the top of anything. I think it was what I call minions. Just people doing whatever they could to put a fly in the ointment, or whatever you want to call it, to help someone's election be stolen, or to help further their cause, or whatever they thought was their cause. And I think the only way that can be mitigated is by actually getting involved at the election bureaus yourself, the people, and actually paying attention to what's going on, being one of the counters, being one of the people down there, actually paying attention.
No, that's, you're right. I think that we do have to get involved. You know, go work at the polling station, go get involved, run for an elected position, whether it's school board or township trustee or, Columbus or Washington. We have to get involved. Good, just common people, folks, everyday workers, folks like us, we have to get involved. We're in a mess if I jumped into this. 'Cause this is the last thing I wanted to do. This was never on my bucket list. And who in their right mind would want to jump into politics? They're gonna tear your life apart. They're gonna tear your business apart. They're gonna tear your reputation down. They're gonna tear your family apart. This is what they're doing to me right now. Every single thing. 3 months in, the United States Labor Hour and Wage Board showed up on my doorstep. They want to do a full audit on my business. We're months in right now. That's what they're doing. Months in. And then here a month and a half, 2 months ago, we have a suit from we have to go in front of the Election Commission Campaign Finance Board. So these are the every single thing like this, they're just going to try to pound me and pound me and pound me. Because they would like to see me just throw my hands up and say, I'm done, I'm out.
Yep.
Folks, they don't know me. They don't know me. You can take my farm, you can take all my money, but you're never going to take my spirit, you're never going to take my freedoms, and you're never going to take my flight. Ever.
Awesome.
I might be calling one of you someday saying, well, they took my farm, I need a room to stay. But I am not dropping out of this race. I don't care what they do.
That's good.
We're going to the end.
I like that.
So let's tie it up here. I just want to say thank you. I profusely thank you for coming out here and just spending a few moments with me, asking questions, getting involved. I sure do appreciate it. I hope, even if you don't support me, I hope I inspire you to get involved in the system. Because that's the only way we're going to fix the system, is folks like us being out there actually turning the nut and bolts. So if you would like to get involved with us, you can sign up for volunteering through our website, or see some of my volunteers back here. Also, we got to raise money. If you donate, every single dollar you can donate, we will conservatively use that in our campaign to get the information out and to win this. At minimal, get on your social media, like our campaign page, get out there and share our information, because that reaches millions of people. Or donate $5, you get a sign, you stick it in your yard, and that draws a lot of attention, just having that sign in your yard. Now, I know the left, they want to intimidate people, especially if you put that sign in your yard, or even the establishment. They're going to say, why you got that sign in your yard? Well, don't worry about that. Just do what's right.
Yep.
And if they get mad at you for doing what's right, they're probably not worth hanging out around anyway.
Yep.
So we just got to fix the system, and fixing the system means getting out there and being strong. Don't falter. And by gosh, say your prayers every day, because we can't win this without God, and it's just not going to happen. And last but not least, what you got, Ange?
Hi, everybody. My name is Angela Gainey. I've been a Stark County resident for over 12 years. We're neighbors. I live in Uniontown, Green area. Sir, I have a little bit of input for you. I manage the events for Joe's campaign. I'm one of a couple ladies on the events team. We have not announced it yet, but please make a note. Friday, January 14th, Joe and Dr. Frank will be at Beach City. The focus of that evening is the concern with our elections and what you can do now. Your question is one of the most asked questions. Hey, Joe, we want you in there, but how do we make sure we get you in there? The first answer is go out and vote. For those that don't know, the day is May 3rd. It is not next November. A lot of folks get confused about that. We have to make it past May 3rd. Very important. So we're going to be meeting in January. If you have Facebook, it'll be on there. If you do not have Facebook, just go to Joe's website. Those event details will be on there as well. He spoke about Laverne Moore. Lovely lady, would have done excellent work in Cuyahoga County. You want to know why she didn't get in? Because a lot of Republicans had your same concern. They didn't think their vote would matter. It's my personal opinion that that's the plan. Only 4% of Republicans in Cuyahoga County came out and voted in November. Only 4% of Republicans. So we all have to do our part. If you can't, take voting day off so you can just drive around your neighborhood. Do you need a ride? Do you need a ride? Do you need a ride?
Yep.
You know, the joke is, take 10 friends. No, seriously, make a plan to take 10 friends. And, see if your neighbor can take 10 friends. People get busy, life gets in the way, but once that day's done, the end of May 3rd, that's going to be the call. And so it is, it takes a village, folks. And in this case, it's going to take a state. But we're going to do it. Happy to talk to anybody about this event or future events or the January event. But I've never been in politics before. Actually, the majority of the people on this campaign have never been involved in politics. But we're done. We're just not doing it anymore. And so we're getting up, and we're not going to sit around with our coffee cups and complain about it. We're actually going to do something about it. So talk to me about how you volunteer, how you get involved. Maybe you don't have time, but you have a little extra money. That is great. You're investing in your future. Personally, I got involved because my husband and I's cruise got canceled because of all this nonsense. And you know what I did with my refund? I gave it to the campaign, because that's not going to happen again. So, just some personal testimony of why we are here, and happy to help you folks even further. So, thank you.
All right, I guess that's wrapped. We'll wrap it up. I think they got some food in here. If anybody wants some food, or something to drink, but if somebody has any questions that they want to talk to me privately, I'll be here.